Hello, pirate crew.
Hello, friends. We're talking about One Piece. This show, and it's so sad. It's like the last episode.
I hate the last episodes. I mean, I love this last
know.
episode, but I hate last episodes in general. I don't like it.
It's pretty great. You know what? What I did, and which I think is fun to do with this show. When I finished watching it, I watched it again.
Oh,
I watched it with my wife,
watched it
who had
twice
not
also.
seen it. And it was so fun to watch it with someone
It
who
is.
had not seen it, because and you have to really keep your mouth shut about certain things, because she was saying, Nami's so bad. She's so
I
terrible. And
know,
I'm like,
she's so annoying.
I'm like, yeah, she's awful.
Why would she be this way?
So it's really fun to watch a second time.
Yes.
And also the first time you watch it, you might be concentrating on certain aspects of it, like the story or whatever. And then the second time you watch it, you can focus in on other details that you may have missed, because there, like we keep saying, this show is so detailed and so subtle and nuanced, and there's so many things going on. A lot of care went into the production of this show, and every aspect of it, from hair and makeup to production design to props and wardrobe and of course the script and all that. It's
as you may
easy
have
to watch
guessed,
a second time.
that's right.
What's that?
We're talking about the last episode of One Piece, episode 8, called Worst in the East.
Yes.
And it
episode
was
8.
Something else. Yeah, it was crazy. Also, I wanted to show you my pirate flag that Burk made.
Oh, nice.
Cinemondo pirate crew.
Oh, I spent so much time drawing that. That was
You spent as much time as Usopp did.
Yeah, probably.
But yeah, so this was a action-packed, crazy. I mean, after the kind of emotional cavalcade that was in the last one, I was just there were so many revelations and so much emotional stuff. It was great to see just balls to the wall kind of action in this episode. We had multiple battles happening just continuously throughout. It was like, and they were set pieces that would sustain one episode, but they put in like 4 or 5 in one episode. Holy shit. It was insane.
And it does do that thing that a lot of shows do, a lot of the sort of fantasy, science fiction, superhero-ish kind of shows, that where you sort of you're sort of obliged to have a fight scene in every episode. And that's kind of it's a trope that we sort of accept. There's going to be a fight,
Right.
And this one has some fights in it. But one thing I'll have to say, sometimes fights kind of bore me a little bit, because I've actually worked on a lot of shows that had that trope, where you where each episode, where now we have to choreograph the fight scene, and everything slows down on the set, and everybody has to concentrate on the choreography, and there's sort of a dance thing, and it takes a lot longer than a regular dialogue scene and all that. But the funny thing about this show is actually the fight scenes are really fun to watch. They're not like typical like superhero type fight scenes where it's like you've seen that before, and maybe there's one little different thing, but this one has everybody's got their own style, and the way it's shot, and it doesn't go on too long, and there's that, the way it's shot lets you understand where you are on the set, and it's not too like fast editing. You really feel the hits, and you feel the suspense of a fight, if that makes any sense. But you kind of feel more about the fight with these.
And they feel they're a little like crazy. Mostly Luffy's the one that goes off the rails because he has a superpower. But I mean, even like Zoro and Sanji's fight, I love that because Sanji does most of the fighting with his feet, and then Zoro does most of it with his sword. So it was a very grounded fight, even though they had these kind of stylized techniques. Right. It was still fun to watch them fight together. Like they were kind of saving each other. Oh, I had it. He goes, no, you didn't. Then they're running back and forth, and they're running across a pool. And it was cool to see like the fishermen jump into the pool to gain momentum to like launch themselves. So they were using the water and the land. It was really really clever. I really liked that. It was fun.
Yeah, and the settings, the production design and everything is so beautiful that, like, when you see Luffy having his big fight scene with Arlong, it's in this cool, you know, this like a Japanese temple building, and inside
That
this
was very cool.
stone map room, and it's just kind of got the epic feel to it. And
yeah, where Nami was held prisoner basically to draw all the maps. You know, he saw the chains and whoa.
Yeah, she had her miserable life growing up and, you know, for this criminal enterprise in Arlong Park there. And so Luffy finally, I mean, it's like the whole gang works together. That's another thing that you see a lot in stories like this, where the idea is that we're a team and we have to work together. So everybody has their role in the defeat of the bad guys, and that's really nicely done. Everybody
really
plays
is.
a part. Nobody's just sitting there going, "Oh, I'm scared." You know, everybody contributes.
It was great.
We also see a little bit more of Garp in this, and his
that's what I was gonna mention. So Garp finally tracks him down to this island, so we kind of have the confrontation. We've been waiting for another confrontation with the Garp.
Yeah.
But now we have all the Marines with him, and I love how Koby is still in line with the Marines, but he's still friends with Luffy, which is probably confusing for both of them. So that was kind of strange. But I'm sure
Koby's idealistic about the idea of the Marines. I think he's got a feeling. I mean, I feel like he feels like he can bring a virtuous, you know, like a actual law and order and in real justice to the idea of the Marines. Because originally, when we first meet him, he wants to help people, and he keeps saying, "I want to help people who can't defend themselves." So he feels. I feel like maybe he thinks that the Marines are the answer. You know, that's the way to defeat these bad guys.
That's right.
And he's idealistic. You know, even though there's corruption.
Right. So you're talking about how Luffy, you've talked about throughout how it feels like it's childhood and you're growing up. The same thing's happening with Koby, where has that same idealism. He's joined the Marines, his childhood dream. He's in the Marines and finding out all this weird stuff in the background, like that Garp is doing, all the corruptions he's noticing, all the kind of backstabbing, and the pirates using other pirates to get their, you know, he's using the Marine is actually using a pirate to try and kill another pirate. He's like, you're actually paying other pirates to do stuff for you? That's not a Marine thing to. So he's figuring, he's having the same kind of parallel, you know, revelations that Luffy is, where it's like life's not that simple, you know, that you think it's like a child.
Yeah. And those moments are the moments that grow you up, you know, as you get older. When you're a child, you feel like, oh, every authority person is a good person. And then the first time as a child, the first time the first time you catch an adult doing something sleazy or lying, it's a shocking revelation. It's like, I thought adults were perfect, you know, and I think I really think that's I don't know if it's a unique theory or not, but I feel like that's what the show is about. It's about learning how the world works, and not just that, not just this sort of dismal, dark idea of the world is corrupt and people are bad and people lie, but you still have to keep your dignity and your spirit and your drive to be that person like Koby, who, even though the Marines have, you know, some areas of corruption, he feels like there's enough in the idea, in the concept, to where that's what he wants to do. He wants to help people, and he is not going to be tempted by the corruption.
That's right. And so he's gonna bring the good back to the Marines.
Yes.
I think he's sort of, I'm being one of the honorable ones. So that's pretty cool too. I like that. He's been very cute throughout. I like what's the
Meppo?
Meppo. I love him too, because he's his dad, you know, he got the terrible haircut, you know, his dad was terrible. It's like, and so he's kind of going along and kind of endearing himself now. Like, he was just hateable when we first see him. And now you're kind of like, he's kind of getting into it. He's sort of starting to agree with Koby on a lot of stuff. It's actually a very cute thing to see. So I like that little side.
It is an interesting idea that they did that. They took that and made them friends, and they sort of are getting closer and closer as friends. And what it is, I think, is that Koby sort of represents like you were saying, that sort of idealistic goodness. And I think it's rubbing off on Helmeppo, who grew up inside the corruption and felt like, when he was younger, he felt like the corruption is the way to do it. But now he's learning from Koby that, it's better to be nice and good. I think that's what's happening. Maybe he's just,
maybe it's just a haircut. I don't know.
Maybe so then what? Underhanded.
So when Zoro and Sanji are doing that fight, and then they also fight them amongst themselves. They just bickering all the time, and they're always bickering. And I love the Buggy's like, enough, just put me with my body so I get out of here. I just love that. It was funny. So then also we have the great scene with Usopp, who has he's trying to be the big hero, and then this fishman starts chasing him, and he starts going, oh shit. So he starts running away. But he has this big heroic moment, which I thought was very cool with the fisherman, which I thought was a very interesting technique where he would drink the alcohol and then spray it like bullets. It was crazy. That was a very cool idea. I really liked that.
He can spit. That's his superpower, his fish power.
So he got a big heroic moment, which was great. So he got to have his
nobody was there to see it.
But now he has to come and see, that's the problem. See, now he's starting to learn. He lies so much, like Boy Cried Wolf. When he tells the truth, no one believes it, even though it was all true. Even though he does embellish it just a little bit too. But that was also very cute. But then, you're right. Then we have the Luffy battle. The Luffy battle with Arlong in the map room comes before the Garp battle, right?
Yeah. I think he collapses the whole building.
I love that. He puts his foot through it and drives Arlong all the way through everything. That was so cool. So crazy.
Like,
and then everyone thought he was dead, but he's made of rubber, so he survived it.
Yeah.
I love that.
It's pretty fantastic scene too, where the building collapses.
And, so well done. Just really beautiful. Great effects in this. I mean, they spared no expense, clearly. So I love that. So then Garp appears, and we have the confrontation with Garp. Or am I skipping one? Did I skip something? I'm trying to keep track of the battles. There were so many.
Oh, this one is this final episode is the big fight with where Luffy fights Arlong and the building collapses. And then after you find out that Luffy survived that, everything seems to be okay, and they're back in the village, and the Sanji's cooking up this big wok full of really tasty food, and all the Usopp is telling all the stories, and then Garp shows up.
You can't have fun for too long in these things.
Right.
Something always happens. And then what happens? Garp, the Marines, they show up.
Yeah.
Like, what's going on here? And at this point, everyone knows that Garp is his grandfather.
Right.
Or our crew knows. I don't think the whole village knows, but So that was, and I had no idea that Garp could really fight like that. So they have their big battle, which I thought was hilarious.
Well, he's got like some kind of magical powers too, I think.
Yeah,
I don't know if he ate the devil fruit or what, but he seems to be super powerful. Maybe it might be that he is just a very well-trained Marine.
That could be, it's his training, because he said he could train them.
Yeah, and that's why Koby and Helmeppo are so excited about training, because they're going to be able to learn these secret techniques, these fighting techniques.
So we have a great battle with those two. And even Luffy's kind of caught off guard. I don't think he expected that. And I love what he tries to do his big move, the rocket move, where he's just like, come rocket. And so he basically stretches himself really far and then launches his entire body at full speed like a missile, and it doesn't work.
Yeah.
It's like, shit, it's so funny.
And it's it's that thing of that sort of analog of childhood where you're still, even though when you grow up, your parents still have this kind of authority. Your parents or grandparents still have this kind of authority. You can't get past it. If you're lucky, you still feel that your parents are the source of authority in your life, if that makes sense.
Right.
And it kind of symbolized that here when Grandpa shows up, and Luffy once again is reduced to grandson, and so I think that fight, the fact that Grandpa was just as powerful, more powerful than Luffy, implies that, when you come up against Grandpa, you're still just grandson.
Exactly. That's interesting you say that, because then Garp gets the realization that he's his grandson and he is who he is. And I liked that, where he kind of all of a sudden he remembers what Zeph was telling him about, that Luffy is basically the next Gold Roger, and that's something that Garp didn't want. And he's like, no, I can't. Then as he sees it, he's like, that's who he is. So he just kind of goes, okay, you're good. We're going to leave now. And Luffy's like, what? What the hell? And that was kind of a surprise to me too, because I'm like, so what was all this for? And even Luffy's like, why? He goes, so was this a test? He's like, yeah, basically was. So it's almost like he just wanted to make sure Luffy was completely committed to this idea, and it wasn't just like a childhood fantasy, which sometimes you wonder, like, I'm going to be a rock star. And then, oh, that'll wear off. But then it doesn't. So Luffy proved that he was going to be the king of the pirates. And Garp's like, okay, then you are.
And again, it's like that parental thing, where your parents, they want to make sure that you're prepared for the outside world and for the weirdness of the world and the corruption and the temptation and all the bad things about the world. And they do test you, and there are these kind of moments where they do have to accept, like, if you're a parent or a grandparent and you always wanted your kid to be a doctor, but your kid instead wants to be a ballerina, then you have to, you may still go, look, you're going to make so much more money, and it's more of a sure thing if you go to medical school, and but then
not your dream.
There comes a point where you're like, okay, she really wants to be a ballerina. I
let her be a ballerina.
I need to accept that, and I need to let her go, let her grow up, let her experience it.
It was, but I like the whole narrative that we have these battle after battle, everyone's winning. We have the big confrontation. We thought it was gonna be Arlong, but it looks like it's gonna be Garp. So we have this big final battle, and then he goes, okay, you're good. Like, I like that they just went, we're done. There was no big climatic, crazy thing. He just said, all right, we're on then. And then even Kobe's like, what is happening? And that was that again was kind of in his head. He's like, I'm never gonna understand this Marines thing. It's very weird. So that was the big final battle for Luffy, and he proved that he does indeed have the right stuff to become a big pirate and king of the pirates. And we're all celebrating, and everything's great. And I love the did I miss anything? We're on to the ship now, right? Everybody's happy. We're leaving.
Well, the end, we also see a little bit of confrontation, a little bit of reunions, kind of like the two sisters.
Right. We have the little vignettes of finalizing things, which was cute.
Yeah, and they kind of come to grips with the realities between. And she, she's sisters again with her sister.
Right.
And we also see that great scene where Koby comes to see Luffy. And
I love that.
They're still friends, even though they're sort of on opposite sides of some sort of nebulous law. And
whatever that is.
And Koby shows him his wanted poster, which is sort of like, and he's worried about it. He's like, I have some bad news. Look at this. And he shows him a wanted poster, and Luffy's reaction is like, yes, that's like his big dream. I've always wanted to be on a wanted poster. He knew it was
good news. He knew it was good news when he gave it to me. I thought you'd like to hear the news. So that was cute. And he's 30 million berries, which is a lot. More than we've seen on most of the posters that we've been seeing. Like, most have been like 17 or 15 or 20, 30. So, and I love the picture too. He's like this big goofy photo of him.
And you can see Usopp's head in the background, which is poignant, because you see different people's reaction to the wanted poster coming out. I guess they publish wanted posters in the newspapers on Waterworld, And so you see the woman from the bar that he used to hang around when he was a kid. He'd hang around with Shanks at this bar.
I like how everybody smiles too. They're all happy for him, It's so funny.
It's like, he got his dream. He's now wanted. There's a bunch of people trying to kill him now.
He's an actual criminal now. It's official.
Yeah.
So, and like you said, now,
and Kaya she sees it, but she doesn't really see Luffy. She sees the back of
she recognizes him.
Usopp's head, and she's like, Usopp,
it was so cute. And she looks so much better. Like, she looks healthy.
The
lighting is really warm. She doesn't have bags under her. She looked really good. She's not being poisoned anymore.
I'm glad they showed that. I'm glad they showed her healthy and kind of like thriving, and we got to see her again.
And then we see Mihawk again.
Yes,
which was kind of fun. I love how we kind of revisited everyone through the series a little bit. Here's what they're doing now. We had a big reunion of a lot of people. So we see Mihawk walking down the beach. It's so funny. You just see this guy in this regalia. He's walking down the beach. Like, okay. And he heads toward this little clutch of pirates. And who does he find?
It's Shanks. We actually see Shanks in the present day with his crew, and they're just kind of hanging out in a cave.
Hungover.
Yeah. They're like the party pirates. They just sort of go out, and they're like the chill pirates. Yeah.
Yeah, they're just having a good time. And then he walks up.
But he shows them the poster of the wanted poster of Luffy. And
Shanks is so proud.
Shanks and the whole gang are just like cheering. Yes, he's made it.
Luffy did it. And then we have, we see Alvida and Buggy in the bar, and they're hanging out together, kind of looking now all these pirates are looking at someone with a bounty on their head, so they're gonna be chasing them with some more. So that'll be interesting.
So everybody's gonna be chasing Luffy now. It's like everybody wants that.
Seeing everyone. No one died. Everyone's alive. Except
I know.
And that was kind of cool. So the pirates are still around.
It's like when Alvida got defeated in the first episode, he just sort of punched her into oblivion. She just flew away off into nowhere.
That's what most people.
She probably landed on a mushroom or something. Some kind of something saved her. Maybe we'll get a backstory like how she surved flying through.
Well, even the butler, flew out a window, and then you see him rowing away. So you can just bounce back very quickly.
And he may show up again. Who knows? I mean, they made a point to show us the fact that he survived. So,
yeah. And I like the big cheer at the end where they all kind of put their foot on the barrel and they talk about the dream that they're chasing. They confirmed like publicly, almost like a vow. They're telling each other what their dream is, and it was all very cute to see them all go around the barrel, telling what they want to do. And that was a nice little joining moment for them. And we see them; they're all together. Yeah. They're all on board. They're all crew. They're not resisting it anymore. They're like, we're Luffy's crew. We saw him do this. He can do this. So I love that. So cute.
Yeah. Yeah. It was pretty fun ending. And it just sets you up for more adventures.
That's right. But it wasn't the end, was it? There's more.
No, we get a post-credit ending. There's a great pull up from the ship too that goes into the sky, and you see the One Piece logo floating, and it just had this great fantasy world ending. Mm-hmm. But then what happened?
But then we see this from behind. We see someone at a desk looking at the poster of Luffy, like everyone is, and you're like, oh, who's this? Now we're only into the Arlong Park arc. So we're not aware who this is yet.
Right.
So we see some guy with a cigar. He has, like you were talking about earlier, he had a ring, like
he's got
cigars
on his arm. Cigars.
Yeah, he's in this dark desk. We don't know. And he takes the cigar and he just puts it out on the poster. So it's burning a hole in Luffy's face. Now we've heard it might be someone called Mr. O. You guys in the comments can tell us who this is without too many spoilers. You can because we've been introduced to him here. We're heading into our next arc. So you can give us a little information on how you feel about that ending. And we do want to hear how you guys feel about this entire series and what you feel about this post-credit ending. We loved this series. I thought it was really well done. We, again, watched it with people who did not even know what One Piece was, and they loved it too. So it's a really good entry into the One Piece world. It's not like there's a barrier of like, I don't understand what's happening. I don't get this. But no, so well done. Lots of love in this series. So I loved it. I thought it was fun. I'm looking forward to it. I'm so glad Netflix went, yep, season 2, because it's apparently the biggest show that Netflix ever had and the most well-reviewed one. So they better renew the show quickly.
Yeah.
So very excited to see
Hopefully
season
they can
2.
Work around this writer's strike thing and get something done before too long.
Yeah, hopefully they're, I mean, in a way, it's kind of written for them. So they just have to do their version of it. Not like they have to come up with ideas.
The thing is, though, the story is written in the anime. The skeleton of the story, that's sort of almost like a storyboard for the story.
Yeah,
there is still a lot of
no, I'm not saying they're not
going into this.
Yes,
into this
tons. What comes in, what goes out. Yeah, like and also like how many arcs? Because we did there's 4 arcs in this one, I think. Right, we're on our 4th arc. So they covered 4 arcs in 8 episodes. And I thought they did it seamlessly. It didn't feel too busy. It felt organized. Yeah, we got rid of a few fun characters like Pearl. We didn't get to see that. I would love to have seen that. We did see some of the villains, but that's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
We'll see. We saw some good ones. So Otherwise, I thought this was an A+. I loved it so much. I watched it twice. It was great to see it twice because, like you said, you pick up on things. But let us know in the comments what you think, and we'll see you with our continuing anime arc reviews.
Yes.
So be sure and check those out.
Yeah, and then once we finish the entire anime series,
tell us what we should do next. Suggest some. I would like to see in the comments what other anime should we be watching after our 1000th episode of One Piece, and however many arcs that is, with 5,000 arcs. Let us know what you think the next one should be. Burk has some ideas, but I want you to see if you think he's right.
I've got some ideas, and I just hung out last night. Went out and hung out with some of my friends who are real deep into anime and know everything about it, and they started telling me just like too much information, like too many different shows and series, and there is a gigantic world out there of really great anime. And I mean, I keep hearing about Demon Slayer. I keep hearing about well, there's too many to even go into.
Tell us.
Yeah, and one of my friends is like, Dragon Ball Z. You gotta get, and I'm like, God, that's another show that's got a huge long history. And
can you think of an anime that's short? We're looking for a short anime series. No, just kidding.
I got limited time here. Yeah, we need to get something done. Come on.
At least 1,000 or less episodes. That's what we're looking for.
Yeah.
But but let us know in the comments what you think, because there are a lot of great ones we want to know we should tackle next. Because guarantee after this success with One Piece, there's gonna be a lot more networks and streaming services interested in covering anime. So hopefully you do a better job than Cowboy Bebop. You just gotta have the right people with the love for the material. That's it. So I think we're in good shape.
What's interesting is Cowboy Bebop had a similar, really well done. It was amazing. It was like but I have a feeling that Cowboy Bebop was an older anime. It was I remember when that came out a long time ago, and it was a live action version of something that I think people weren't as into as they are into One Piece.
So obsessed. Yeah.
One Piece is still coming out with new anime
that's true.
story arcs, and it's still going.
Part of it, I think, too, is just I love the childlike quality of it and the sort of underlying positiveness, and there wasn't the cynicism. There's something about that I think is really appealing about One Piece, and you get in easily, you understand it, it's fun, it's cute. And then it gets a little more serious. It kind of catches you off guard. You start getting pulled into the world, and you're kind of evolving with the character of like, oh, it's not all fun and games. It gets kind of serious and creepy and scary, So I love that about it, which some don't. Some kind of start right off. They come in hot, So you're like, whoa, hold on. But I'm very interested in hearing about what One Piece fans think is the next anime we should watch, because they kind of have that right attitude toward it. So let us know.
I think what you're saying is correct. Getting the idea of what it is about the One Piece anime that makes people such big fans. Like, what is it about it, and applying that to a live action thing. Like, there was another anime that I really love called Lupin the Third, and they made a live action of that. And I think they kind of missed the point of what people loved about Lupin the Third. But also, Lupin is kind of a more serious type of a story of a like international thief, kind of spy thief kind of idea, kind of vibe. But I think when they made the live action thing, they made it too much away from the anime. If it makes any sense, they sort of made it less like the anime and more like a typical James Bondy kind of
Oh yeah. Thing. You're right. Lupin was very James Bond. I watched Death Note. Was it Death Note, right?
Death Note.
I really liked Death Note. I mean, I watched it just not knowing anything about the anime, and I like horror, and I like that whole aspect of the supernatural quality of that. So I enjoyed it. I thought it was a fun thing. But again, we're looking for you guys. Your advice on what we should watch. So give us a list, your top 3, and let us know what we should watch.
Like Demon Slayer. I got into a little bit into Demon Slayer for a while, and for me that just seemed so chaotic and erratic. It took me a while to figure out where to hold on that show. So it didn't really pull me in immediately, but maybe I need to stick with it a little bit more.
Yeah. But this has been really fun.
The whole thing is fun.
So fun. I'm glad that we got to see the live action soon, like as we started, and we're kind of we saw it almost parallel to where we are with the anime, which was really fun. So we didn't have advanced knowledge of anything. We had realizations and depictions of things we already knew from the anime that we'd seen already, and how they pulled it off. That was so enjoyable. I love that. So I'm very, very excited about watching the next, knowing they're going to be another season, that they're going to make this real too. So very excited. I hope you guys enjoyed the series as much as we love making it, because I know we sound a little scattered because we're still like, trying to get all the details right, but so much fun. And you guys have been so great. I love the anime. The whole anime crowd is so welcoming and so great. And that makes it fun too, is just the community of like where we're watching it and they're advising and talking to us about it, and we get to talk to them. It's been a great experience, and I just have loved it.
Anime fans are the best, really. I've loved the whole anime community since the 80s, honestly. And things like Akira, when that came out, I kind of got, and all even you go way back to things like Macross and all the older shows. Those are massive, huge. And God, Gundam, there's so much. If you get into the Gundam series, I got into that for years and actually built one of the really hardcore Gundam models, which I should have made a YouTube video about.
Yes. Well, you could make some One Piece models.
Yeah, if there are any, I don't know. It's cool.
Oh, there has to be. When is there not?
Yeah.
All right. So we'll catch you guys later. Be sure to keep an eye out for our continuing anime arc reviews, and we'll see you soon.
Yeah. Bye, everybody.
Bye.